Hey, hello guys. So I have a confession to make. I didn't actually work on this off stream, much like I said I would. So we're going to be still sculpting the hoops. Ended up just playing like games and stuff yesterday, and then today bought some new guitar equipment. So I've been kind of preoccupied. But yeah, we should hopefully be finishing off the model for these like middle earrings. This is the current model we've got, which is yeah, it's proxied. We still need to sculpt the inflation at the bottom and all the dents like these guys have. And do all the metal work as well, because these currently, well, this version currently lacks all the metal work. Obviously it's the same on this side, it's completely mirrored. And then once we've done that, we're finished on jewellery at long last. Obviously we'll need to come back to it all for texturing and some really high res sculpting to get all the, like, you know, the very small details. Maybe not on these guys because they're already sculpted, but on these smaller rings we'll have to do some either nice shading or sculpting to kind of really break these up and make them feel not so perfect. We also need to do some work on these little crosses at some point because they're all identical and they shouldn't really be identical. At least at this scale, I'd expect some of them to be distorted just because they're so small and kind of tiny. Yeah, once we've done that, it should be quite quick. We literally just need to detail this guy or do the high res for it and, you know, use zero mesh and all that stuff. Once we've done that, it's just a case of fixing any modelling for the head, maybe change the size of the iris finally in this stream. Make sure everything lines up as close as I can get it. I'm not going to worry too much about a 100% lineup, just because I'm still not sure my camera matches. I'm just going to kind of add asymmetry, but only where, well, if I add asymmetry today, but only where it kind of matters. So I'm not going to do all the, you know, like the ears being completely offset, because I think that's kind of an inaccuracy in my camera positioning and focal length. So I'm not going to worry too much about that, but I will kind of play about with that stuff. But yeah, so I guess let's get back into sculpting. If anyone has any questions, I expect no one to have any questions just because I've been working on this same thing for so long. But if anyone does, just let me know. Let's pick. Right, okay, so obviously we're just working on one side for now, we'll be working on the other side soon. I need to get my reference up as well. Let's get PureRef open and load recent. Cool. So not too worried about getting a one-to-one match, as I said. I just want to get something that feels right. Because it's going to take too long to get a one-to-one match, and I really don't care that much about the jewellery. I just want something that looks good. So these shapes still aren't technically right. We need to add pretty big asymmetry to this as well. So yeah, we'll get to that as it comes and goes though. So this bit's super smooth, but let's get some volume change on that. So how's everyone's weekend going anyway? Everyone okay? I have no idea who's watching the stream at the moment, by the way. I know there's quite a lot of people that watch this and don't really say anything in chat. If you're watching this and never said anything in chat before, feel free to say hello. It'd be interesting. Be interesting to know kind of who's here.
It's Ian or Ari.
Who?
Ian.
Ian, you are requested. Right, let's just fill that in a little bit. So I don't want to do too much crazy stuff over here, just because it is super smooth in the ref. I just want to have the illusion of detail, which this sort of sculpting will get, you know, something that feels vaguely realistic. Just because it'll break up the spec, it won't be perfect. Well, it feels a bit too lumpy right now. But yeah, when we actually render this, obviously, because it'll be so small on screen, it will kind of a lot of these small details I'm adding will more act, they won't be visible directly, they'll more just act as a specular breakup rather than actually a shape change, which is what we want in this case. So I'm going to make it so that in this area it wasn't easy to smooth, so let's just go smooth a little bit on the sides, but keep the notches in the middle. That makes sense to me on that, like, construction, you know, on a construction level. That stuff would be harder to smooth out. Oh, Mike Wild has released a new tutorial. If anyone doesn't follow Michael Wild, I recommend checking out his stuff. He used to be a texture artist, and he was also a groom artist at one point at NPC. And he makes really, really decent like texturing content on YouTube. That's just Michael then Wild with an E at the end. He's quite good. I recommend checking him out. Let's hack this area out. Just on one side though. There's some variation in there. And down here, this needs to be moved off to one side, I think. There we go. Let's really hack this area out. I look forward to getting back into the organic sculpting part of this project. Okay?
Not me.
Me? Yeah, I'm not a hard surface guy. I'm only doing this because I have to. Although, to be fair, the jewellery is one of the many reasons I chose to make this image of FKA twigs, so I can't bitch that much. I did this to myself. So there's that side blocked out. That looks horrible there. What is going on? There we go. I'll get rid of all this perfect smoothness. I'll be doing some stuff in shading to get rid of that. I'll probably be adding a pretty subtle fractal to all this. But I will be keeping that very subtle. I might even end up using a turbulent noise, but like turned inside out. Or inverted even. Because turbulent noises do a really good like kind of hammered metal effect if you invert them. So that the little trenches become white. Right, so now we need to do all that stuff, but again to the other side. I'm wondering if it's worth mirroring it over. Is there a way for me to mirror this? Let's go into deformation. I'll need to rotate it first. Let's go to rotate and then set you to 90. And let's see which side gets mirrored. Geometry. Modify topology. Mirror and weld. For one, it extended it, which is kind of weird. Let's go back into deformation. Mirror. Minus 0.1. Mirror minus 0.3. Let's try mirroring that. There we go. Which side has all high res? Yeah, cool. So let's mirror that again. So all the high res stuff is on the left. Let's go to geometry. Mirror and weld again. There we go. Now we can deform that by rotating it back. Deformation. Rotate. Let's set that to 90. Cool. So they're now identical. We need to break up the large forms, but at least we've got all the general sculpted shapes. I'm also going to go in and change the welding just at this point here where you would notice the identical kind of nature of it. Not like that though. Oh, come on. So let's just change this side. I think to make it so it's not as identifiable, basically. Just hack that out and go back over it. The chat is still stoic as fuck. Alright, that'll do.
Does anybody know if you can bring in a guitar on EasyJet flight?
Oh yeah, I'm hoping to take a guitar with me to Belfast when we fly over. Does anyone know how EasyJet are with guitars?
Because their online thing says yes if it fits, but it doesn't say anything else. It says it's at like at the discretion of the airport, but I don't know if I have to ring like Luton Airport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the EasyJet desk at Luton Airport and ask.
Probably worth it. I doubt Ryan's going to see this video, but I think that'd be quite a nice surprise for him.
Yeah.
I could turn on backface masking, but I got a feeling because it's a hole, it's going to have a horrible time with it. I could set it to mask visible, maybe. There we go. One eye is smaller than the other, so let's do that. There we go. And let's do that on the other side as well, but let's make it a bit different on this side. So let's move one eye up from the other. There we go. I really love this little like face thing, whatever it is. I don't think it's actually supposed to be a face. I think it's just there's an effect. I forgot the name of it, but it's basically like where all humans see faces where there isn't one. It's like that. There's that really famous image of a mountain on Mars that looks like a face, and it is literally just three peaks like next to each other and create shadows that look like a face.
We have a mountain at home that looks like a face, and it's the one that inspired Gulliver's Travels.
Yes, you tell me every time.
Because it's amazing.
I always love. You tell me that every time, but anytime I mention something like, "Oh, 5G," it's like.
You know, every time we walk past the freaking photo so you're like, "Oh, I wonder,
Is 5G real yet?"
It's like what? It's like, well, there's only certain networks that have it. And it's like, all right, that's good to know. Like.
Well, because it genuinely is or was like a lot of networks that say 5G, but they actually weren't. Like I think it was AT&T in America. Like they proved that they literally just replaced the programming for 4G, so that it changes the little little icon to say 5.
Oh, I broke this.
So just like I always saw it and was like, is this 5G actually 5G, or is it just rebranded 4G that I'm trying to kind of cash in on? Don't worry, chat. I'm not like one of those guys who's like, oh, 5G will do all these horrible things. Like it's just a signal. And if me saying that annoyed anyone, you can get some science in your life. There we go. I think that'll do. So let's go into preferences, undo history. Cool. Hoop D. Let's call this version 3. And then I need to duplicate this. Oh, we can delete you actually. Cool. So let's duplicate you. Then dynamic solar geometry. Let's go into zero mesh and just see how good of a job it does. I've got a feeling this one's going to be an absolute nightmare for UVing it. I'm going to have to set this to something quite high, like 20, if not higher. There's quite a lot going on in this mesh. It's not as simple as the second hoop that we did. Let that do its thing. Maybe I'm actually taking a while on this one. I think there's just so much for it to consider. Part of me is tempted to be an absolute masochist and like hand retopo one of these at some point, just as practice. Like not for the streams, but maybe like after the project is done, just like return to it and just do a complete retopology test and see what I can get out of it. Because some of these shapes would require quite odd flows, I think. 25,000. I actually got relatively close to the poly count. It's not enough detail though. It's not far off though. I'll give it that. I'm gonna go a bit higher though. So let's go to 30k. So that will probably give me like, what is it that will give me? That will probably give me something like 40k. Zero mesh that. Let it do a swing again. What?
Your orange t-shirt makes me think you're a traffic light every time I look at it.
A traffic light?
Yeah.
There is no orange light.
There is an orange light.
What?
In the middle.
It's yellow.
Is it not orange?
It's yellow.
Fuck off.
Red, yellow, green.
I've been driving for so long.
Yet you tell me that I can't drive. It's like I have a driver's license, and you don't even know.
Can't drive.
But you don't know what colour the middle traffic light is. You are a hazard.
Okay, it's an orangey colour. It's got an orange tinge to it.
It's yellow, my dude.
Yellow. Oh, it's orange. I'm looking at a real one right now.
It is yellow.
It's not That's why whenever you get a traffic light sandwich, it's tomato, lettuce, and carrot.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not orange.
It
I will
is.
get I'll get a
It's
picture
not
of it.
yellow.
It is yellow.
It's not
Red, yellow, green. Everyone knows that. Hell, even the Americans know that.
It's orangey colour. I'm looking at one right now.
Show me.
I'm looking at it right now.
Alright, I'm gonna search traffic light. Sorry about this stream.
It's
Traffic
orange.
light. That is not orange.
It's orange. It's not yellow though. It's like mustard. That's not the right one. That's like a fucking school one. No, no, no.
Traffic
No,
signs.
look at the actual physical traffic lights. They're more orange than they are yellow.
I'd say it's more yellow than it is orange.
No, fuck you. It is a mustard.
It is a mustard. Oh yes, and what colour is mustard, Becca?
Shut up. Oh, somebody's disagreeing. You better agree with me.
Put in between yellow and orange. You are wrong,
It's orange.
Oscar.
Ha ha ha.
Maybe in Germany,
No, in the globals.
but they're definitely yellow here.
Naranka.
Do you want to check the fucking theory test for the UK?
What test like?
The theory. There's a TH and I can't do it.
I can't say TH. For those listening, Mike can't pronounce the, like TH in any word. He pronounces it like an F, like f. And my little brother used to have.
It's
this,
not fair.
This is not fair. My little brother used to have this speech impediment as a kid, and he got it sorted. Mike, on the other hand, did not.
I didn't realise I had a speech impediment until Becca started taking the piss out of me. That's the key difference here.
That is a thick.
I got a message. It's Christian. Christian.
What did you say?
Christian. That's how we used to say his name in uni.
Of course. You're
Just-
one of the cool kids, weren't you?
I've always been one of the cool kids. I've never been nerdy or out of the cool social groups once in my life, right? In high school, everyone liked me. There's literally only like 2 people from high school that I occasionally chat to anymore. And even then, only one of them. Well, he does a pretty good job of that bit. Let's leave it to do its own thing there. So, what loops did we want? We wanted. Give it a bit of guidance, help it through. So I know I've given it different guides on both sides, but I'm going to see how well of a job it does. Zero mesh that at 30k. It's taking a bit longer than last time.
Yes.
Ask Queen. What did she ask?
No, this is definitely working. I thought my normal map wasn't working, but it actually is. It's just
Let's give it a little loop under the nose to help out.
just like so.
Like so, like that. I'm just using a guide to kind of help it along. What? Zero mesh. You could probably just zero mesh half this mesh. Amazing that you're still working on the earrings. Is it though?
Is it though? Is it though? Yeah, but look at those attention to detail on those ball titties.
They're like
Where's
polished.
the nips? That's a great stick.
Cole used to love sticks. I made a pun.
So bad.
Erica liked it. Although it's probably not actually Erica.
It's
No,
Cole.
Cole is Erica.
That's a very disappointing job. Go in your live stream.
I'm glad you like the streams though, Oscar.
I keep forgetting you have a camera, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna scratch my back, and I'm like, oh, nope. But then I'm like, oh, never mind.
The
I can't
camera's
scratch
not
my.
on.
There's no camera. I was like, I
Yeah,
can't
well,
scratch
the
my
camera's face. I mean, I tend not to trust it anyway because there was, I think it was the third stream of Dragon Ball. My face just randomly appeared. My camera was off, but it was recording, and it just put my camera on screen.
That's so funny.
I was like, so glad I wasn't sat here naked.
Ah, yes, the Optimus Prime of like Digi sculpts.
Oh, this is awful. I might go higher res, you know.
Yeah. Give it one more. Fix her titties.
Shut up.
The
Stop,
one above looks like it's birthing something.
stop calling them titties.
It looks like a little turkey birthing.
Let's go to 40k.
Like.
Super interested in doing digidoubles. Perfect project. Super interesting for me to see it being done start to finish. Yeah, it's painful. I'll tell you that much. Like, I've not worked on a huge amount of digidoubles professionally. I've mainly been used as like a creature guide, to be honest. But the digidoubles I have worked on, it's crazy like how long people spend on this stuff. I mean, we have to be honest. Right, we're not going to get much better topology without going way too high in poly count, so I'm going to settle at 43,000, I think. Or will I? I'm going to try 45. Sorry guys, I know I'm literally just zero meshing over and over again, but I just want the mesh to be fairly representative, and I don't want to keep going back and forth. I'm not worried about the poly count on these, to be honest. Like, if I wanted to do these like manual retopper, I could get a lot lower poly, but I just don't see the point, really. Well, not on this character, considering it's not being pushed for an animation pipeline, and even if it was, you know, it's 100,000 polygons for 2 of these earrings, which is a lot, but computers can be fine with that. As long as they're not deforming, that's super, super easy. It just takes a little while longer to load. Yeah, that'll do. That's high res enough to start getting some stuff from this guy. Right, so 47,000 polygons. Too high? Yeah, probably. Do I care? No. Luckily, the inside of the ring looks like it's done a good job. So we need to reproject this stuff on there. So let's just go subdivide it once and go to project and project it, project all, and subdivide again, project all, and then we'll subdivide one more time and project again there. Now when subdivide again, it should be on roughly, yeah, it's almost the same amount of polygons. If you chose a moment to crash, this was a great one. I'm going to leave it completely alone. I'm not going to touch anything. There we go. So, we can delete this big boy. Delete. Yep. So now we got our mesh. Cool. I think what I'll do is I'll cut the mesh in half in Maya, then mirror it back over. So, Although that will get rid of the asymmetry that we added. But it'll also make it way easier to, it'll make the topology symmetrical, and it will also make it easier to work in general. Oh, that's not actually going round perfectly, is it? Oh, that's annoying. So we need to inflate this bottom section. Let's do that. Got enough asymmetry on there, maybe a little bit of FKA here. Cool. Then we just need to go in and do this. Add some random bumps. I'm not too worried about the position of these. I just want to get some random variation that's roughly at scale. Direction should matter, to be fair. I should probably pay a bit more attention to how that's going. This isn't a standard technique, by the way. If anyone's looking at this and thinking, oh, that's how they do it, no. No, end that thought where it is. Oh, I just missed the chat. So you're gonna, so you've set the guides to keep the shapes drawing as you mentioned. Yeah, so the guides just kind of influence it. It doesn't do it perfectly. You can set it to have more strength, but I find that once you increase curve strength, you start getting artifacts. Like you just get random faces where, like, you know, the polygons are in the wrong places. So, and then I've told you about me using photogrammetry and human-sized turntables to create digital human scans. Just ordered iPad to see how LiDAR sensor. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'll be really cool. I haven't really ever tried like anything LiDAR based. I've cleaned up LiDAR a couple times, but never done much with it. Right, so that's all that done, mostly. So now we're going with the crumple, which is my new favorite brush. And it might be worth going polygon count higher. Cool, so let's just go over this with a quick smooth. Go over you again with a quick smooth. And there we go, we got some bumpiness. Maybe a bit too, if the camera roll sounds a bit too bumpy, but we'll find out. Let's just add a little bit of smoothing there. So I'm sculpting the low res at the moment just because I want it to be quite soft. It must feel like cloth in a way, which I'm not too fond of. I just need to bend the thing, but I think I'm going to do that in Maya with like a lattice deformer or something. Alright, so let's go over the whole thing with the crumple. So go back up to the highest subdivision. Crumple is a really nice way of adding like scratches in. I feel like if you used to be subtle enough with it, it'd be really, really good at micro scratches. Granted, I'm not being subtle. Will you do any cloth simulation and texturing? There's no cloth in this project. There's none in the photo, or none visible in the photo. So I won't be doing any cloth stuff in there. So sorry if you're kind of hoping for that stuff, but yeah, I won't be doing it for this project. Maybe in my next project I'll include something that has cloth. Although I need to buy a Marvelous Designer license. Because the Marvelous Designer shortcut I've got on my desktop, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, is that it's like super, super old. I'm not entirely sure it even works. It's like an old trial type thing. I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah. It's not been working for a while. I want to like go out and get like a proper license at some point. I think it's like 500 quid or 400 quid for a perpetual Marvelous Designer license, and you know, the features they've got in there now are pretty much all I'll ever want. Because they've got sculpting, they've got retopology, they've got everything really that you can need. Like anything extra is like not really a necessary thing unless I get really deep into it, and I probably won't, to be honest. Oh, topology gets really torn up by that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to the highest res, duplicate it, and then go back to the version with history, go to before the crumpling, and let's project that back on. So let's go to, yeah, that's where the crumpling happens. So all we need to do now is, this version is before the crumpling, we just go to the highest subdivision level, which will break the history, but that's fine, that's what we want. Then we got this crumpled version, so all we need to do is just project it. So I'm going to go to the lowest subdivision, project all, then go up a subdivision, project all, go up another subdivision, project all, and that just means that the topology is going to be even, because it's just projecting linearly, it's not actually reading the topology of the mesh above it. They will be very subtly different results because they're the exact same poly count, but they're different flows, fundamentally. It's got to leave us alone for a second while it thinks about its life decisions. There we go. I generally recommend, after you've done like considerable amounts of sculpting, just reprojecting an older version of mesh, because then that keeps your topology flow. So now if I show this, so I go to the lowest division. This is the, let's just, so we're in solo. So this is the cleaned up version. This is the non-cleaned up version, but the topology difference, if I go to the lowest division level, on both of these, we got that, and we got that. That's the difference between them. In fact, that's a good tip for you as well, Becca, actually, if you're doing it. So I've been sculpting on this for a while, and it's torn up the topology over time. So all I did is I went to before the sculpting that fucks all this up, go into an older version of mesh that has a clean flow, and then reproject it back on, and it keeps a clean flow but recaptures the details. It's really important to do that sort of stuff because it changes quite a lot, like how your displacement and everything will, how clean it will be. If you need deformation, it will change how clean deformation is. It's really important to get that stuff right. Right, so I need to export this and start UVing it, which is going to be an absolute nightmare. In fact, I'm almost tempted to run auto UV and just see what it does. Oh, sorry, auto seams. In fact, actually, let's try. Let me try something. I'm going to duplicate you at the lowest subdivision level, which is this. Cool. Solar, that's good. Geometry, 3 subdivision levels. Then I'm just going to drag that off screen for a second. In fact, I'm going to close it entirely because I don't need it right now. So then I'm just going to go into Z plugin. I'm going to go into UV master. Enable control painting, attract from ambient occlusion, which will do that. And then let's just see, turn off symmetry, and let's unwrap that. That should work fine. And Oscar, don't worry about lending me your license. I need to get my own license anyway at some point.
What license?
Office designer. If I want to go like into fully freelance character stuff, it's going to help to have like a full license of that. Because the only Marvelous Design I got is like literally Marvelous Designer 4, and I think it's like an old trial that I just never bothered updating. So there's no chance of that working because that's like, what, 6 versions out of date now? Oh, personal license is $50 a month. I think the chat could cover that expense. Use a 30-day trial and 50 for a month. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably just buy a perpetual license. If it's 500 once, I'd rather do that. Because as much as I probably won't use it that often, it's nice just to have it. Because if you have it, you normally just use it anyway. I'll find excuses to use it. Like I'll intentionally do more projects with cloth in it. So I do know how to use Marvelous. It's just been such a long time. Like I've probably forgotten like all the nuances to sewing patterns. Right. So how does this look now? Let's go into basic material. Z plugin, flatten. Oh yeah, awful. So let's unflatten that. Unfree subdivisions. Leave that one alone. There we go. So that's got our high subdivision level back. Cool. And it's also got, for whatever reason, let's pick color again. Delete you. Save you. Just save it over version 3. Cool, so let's go fix the UVs. Go to the bottom, turn off texture, turn off group, turn on smooth normals. Don't know why that's not the default, to be honest. Hoop D low poly. Cool. Then let's go into Maya. Yeah, it's 490 perpetual. 9.5 is so powerful you can. Oh, Maya interrupted. 9.5 is so powerful you can now sim on the GPU. Oh wow, yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous. Yeah, I feel like yeah, Marvelous Design was just insane. I remember when it came out, because I'm pretty sure the first version was released around about the time I started CG, like 2012, or maybe just before like 2011 or something. I remember it being like there was like this big push because it's like, oh, they used it on Gravity, like they used it to make the astronaut suits. I think that was Marvelous Designer 3 or 2. I remember just thinking like how amazing it looked. That's the thing, like it's obviously like amazing to have the latest and greatest software, but then when you look at what people could do with version 1, you're like, oh, do you actually need anything better? Obviously it's very convenient to have the newer ones, but yeah. Modeling, Maya exports, jewelry, Hoop D, and get that low poly. Cool, I guess I exported the wrong side. Is it actually facing forward? It is, cool. Right, so let's go into UV mode. Hello, Hypershade, where do you come from? Panels, perspective, solo. So it didn't come with UVs, which is weird. It keeps doing that. We can close U. I think we can close most of that. So, mapping. Let's just see what automatic does. It's going to do an awful job. They always do. Yeah. It's pretty horrible. So let's undo that. Mapping. Let's just do the planar map. It's beautiful. Finish UVs. Let's just cut the thing in half. So right. In fact, actually, in this case, let's just cut the top section. In fact, no, let's actually cut it in half. So cut there. I think it's around here. Cut there. And then we need a central loop. Oh wow, it actually goes the whole way. I'm impressed. I know it's just a cylinder, but still. Can never be too thankful for that shit. So that will already unfold better. In fact, we can test it. It's obviously not going to work, but unfold. This is too much complexity on top of that. Apparently it didn't make it down one half. Or is it just some... Oh no, it's just overlapping, okay. In theory, that's already good enough in some ways. Let's just see how text. I'm gonna work on it more than that, obviously, but yeah, technically that works. But that's unfolded. That's actually unfolded rather well, kind of annoyingly so. Yeah, that bit's screwed. Why is that so nice, actually? Is it just not that wide? I'm shook. I'm still going to cut it apart though. It's a waste of UVs. Like if I was to lay these out, the amount of UV wasted is incredible. Yeah, like look how little UV space that actually uses. We want this to fill up as much of the square as possible, and we just can't with these shapes. The more square the shapes are, or the more like kind of in proportion the shapes are, the better your UVs will be in terms of like space usage. Obviously, if you've got loads of small pieces, you can use those as well. But right, so let's cut between, I guess, each bit. Oh, Jesus, why? I hate that so much. Cut that. Do the same on the other side. Oh, the other side doesn't have that clean loop. Weird for it to take such a different path. A closed loop. It's a good day. Cut that. And we need to cut just after these guys. Not delete edge. Cut. Come on, just let me cut across. There we go. Cut that. So that's those cut apart. Need to cut these apart too. I thought that was too good to be true. Cut you. And this is where actually doing proper UVs would be really helpful, because this sort of stuff is kind of, you know, because you place the loops, you're going to have clean loops between all this stuff. It makes it a lot easier in the long run. Where did I just cut? Okay, so it's just below that thing. So I heavily recommend, like, if you're ever hoping to, oh, one sec. If you're ever hoping to get like super clean UVs, make sure you're doing manual retopo. The only reason I've not been doing manual retopo this whole time is just because these are not worth the effort. But if I was doing this for a portfolio, like if I was actually going to show these, like, you know, specifically these earrings, then I'd take the time. It's not worth rushing through if you want to do it for portfolio reasons. Let's set it to layout when it unfolds. What is this? I should follow so. Okay, so I think we all need to cut these off. Not really like that, but do I have any nice loops like that? Love spiral loops. Alright, so how can we cut this? It's going to be nice. I guess cutting across here. Probably not really visually distracting. I accidentally move one over. There we go. That. Now we have to do the same on the other side, which is going to be horrible. Although I've cut in the wrong place, really, haven't I? Let's just undo a bunch of those. Oh, I guess. Edit redo. Let's control Y. Okay, I guess we'll live with that. So it's from U to U. Cut that. It's from U to U. Cut that. That allows me to weld. Kind of wondering if it's worth cutting the backs of these off completely, actually. Just so the front itself can be completely separate from the rest. Nope. Let's go up a few, actually. So that means if we cut this off, which is like there, oh, one higher, go up to about here. I think that will do. Cut that. In fact, actually we need this stuff back here, never mind. Self-imposed challenge of UVing through laziness of retopology. My favourite combination of things. Cut that. That now means I can weld U, weld a U, hold that as well. I guess that results in these guys being welded. Yeah, I think I will mirror it, then just reproject it in ZBrush. Let's try unfolding all this. Oh, that piece is going to be a nightmare, isn't it? What I need to do, let's see if this will work. UV, grab you, send it to you, straighten border. No. Straighten shell. Yes. Not really working though. Guess it technically would be more effective for me to cut along the top for this piece. Which means I can sew the bottom. Not too fond of doing that, to be honest, but it's going to produce much nicer results on this guy. There we go. Way nicer. A lot less wasted space too. It shows the asymmetry of our topology, which is a bit of a nuisance, but so be it. I'm wondering if it's worth though. Is it worth extending this? Cut those edges, which means I can sew these ones back on. And let's do the same on the other side. So let's grab you. Is it there it goes to? No. I can just dive down. Cut those. So now I can unfold that again. How much nicer is that? Yeah, it's a lot nicer. A lot more satisfying to look at. So, although there's something going on here. Where's that? Oh, it's just displaying that. Okay, cool. So, we need to straighten up some of the UVs. I need to mirror the mesh as well. This bottle, huh? Fresh. So I'm going to duplicate this. Silhouette. I think that's the middle. So here's the way I can check this. And it's pretty disgusting. I'm going to create a cube. I don't have anything selected. Cube. Scale it way up. And go to that middle edge, which is actually almost dead on. So move it 2 edges further. Let's just scale that in actually. So move it to there. Okay, so I just need to go a little bit further back than that on this guy. So we just need to go one edge further on the cut, basically. So for now, let's just do that. I could have just done a boolean as well. That would have also worked. In fact, why didn't I just do a boolean? That's made that so much more painful than it had to be. So that's that sorted. So now we should be able to scale these flat. Yeah, it's basically nothing happens now. Cool. So that's working. I feel like I cut the wrong half though. No, I didn't, because this side's cut nicely. Cool. So let's just move and sew you. Move and sew. So now we just need to cut this guy, make this work as nicely as possible. That. Then let's go a little bit further on you. So cut you up to about there. Cut you up to about there. Cut. Take both of these towards this guy. Oh, actually, this one goes straight there. Let's just do that instead. Oh god, I'm going to go either side both times. There we go. Cut that. Machine's going to move and sew these guys. So now I can unfold that properly. So let's give that a go. So it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a lot nicer. So giving it flexibility to move now. We need to do the same for this guy. Well, it might be good enough. Let's try attaching that back on. You know what, it's good enough. I'm going to ignore those cuts. I guess the only one that's really stretching. How do you change resolution of this? I did not know that was a thing. Hey Becca. If you left click on the checker box, you get this one. If you right click, you get this one.
I wondered, because there used to be one that showed you if it was wrong. Like, you know, remember the red and blue one? It disappeared.
Yeah, because look, if I left click and then right click on it again, it changes. That's cool. This is really helpful actually. Helps you with layout. Right, so which one was it? Oh, maybe this one's struggling. Let's check. Let's go to textures, check a map. Let's just change the scale of this guy. Size, let's go 128. Apply. Cool. So most of this is doing okay. It's this that's kind of getting screwed over. So let's just we're going to need to cut this apart. I'm going to cut it in half, I think will work best. 2 behind you. So let's go with you and 2 behind you. Cut that. Cut that. Cool, so that goes to there. Cut that. Well, I guess we should sew that bottom section, right? So let's take you to there. Let's just cut that bit. Cut you. Even so edges. Fold. There we go. Much better. So, I'm genuinely surprised that this works as well as it does. What's this? Yeah, it makes sense that they're struggling. I'm gonna keep it the way it is though. Cool. So that's that done. At least to a basic level. By no means perfect, but we're never gonna get it to be perfect. So now all we need to do is, oh, actually let's cut, should we cut this into a smaller piece? Oh no, it's a bit long. So now we need to mirror this. So in theory these line up perfectly, so let's try mirroring this. In fact, I'm going to save the scene before I do that. So let's mirror. And I guess we're going to mirror on the, is it mirror on the X? No, it is not. It's mirror on the Z. Okay, so we need to mirror it in the positive direction. Oh wait, it's going to mirror on wall space Z, right? So let's set this to be cool. Does that straight? There we go. So that's completely zeroed. Try applying that again. Let's try mirroring the positive. There we go. Fold that. Don't know why I laid it out so differently this time. And let's just check for I was looking for so many weird smoothing issues on the border. I think it's worked perfectly fine. Yeah, it has. Alright, cool. So why is this laid out so badly this time? Layout UV. Sharpie rotation, let's set that to vertical. I would normally do a line V to Y, but in this case that won't work because it's a ring. Oh, that's horrible. Straighten shell. Straighten that shell. Do we have a through line on any of these? Don't think we do. We do on that one. shell. There we go. Lay that out again. Does it? There we go. Why did it pack it so much better this time? In terms of like space usage. It's really struggling with something. What's going on? There we go. Whatever history was on there is gone now. Let's try to keep it screen left, screen right. Screen left, screen left, screen right, screen right, screen right, screen right. No, that's screen left. Oh, that's screen left as well. Why was I not looking at that one? Screen left. So it's the screen right. Screen left. Screen right. Cool, right, so we got all those. Let's face these the correct way, relative to each other. Let's hold J. Cool. Move these into the middle. This one's screen right. Let's do that. Put you. Ooh, okay. I'll turn this upside down. In fact, no, let's not turn that upside down. I might just scale this one thing down. So let's do it equal on both sides. Cool. Get you. It's on the wrong side. Put you there. Where's the equivalent piece? That's you. Put you there. You're correct. Need to find the equivalent. There he is. I'll be straightening up the UVs, so it'll make it a little bit easier to pack efficiently. I'm going to scale these both down a little bit to make better use of everything. Put that like that. Put you there. Put you. Will it fit nicely there? Or do I have to turn it around? That'll do quite nicely. Let's move these more efficiently. And let's put that like this. Although to be honest, it might be better to weld these in the middle. Let's give that a go. Move and weld. How does the UVs look? Yeah, that works fine. Okay, so we'll mirror and weld those bits. Move and weld. Move and so. So now we can just pick an angle for them to go at. There we go. Need to move the whole thing to the right. let's move the whole thing up. Cool, so now we have some workable UVs. Not perfect, but they're good enough. So now we need to straighten things up a little bit. So let's go with this edge right here, straighten shell, and just move it over. I think this one's straight, but let's give it a go. I think it's that one. It's that one. Straighten shell. Pretty sure it's going to do nothing. Oh, I did something. I'm surprised. Pick a random edge here. Don't know why G doesn't work with straighten shell. There we go. Got some nice clean UVs. So save the scene. Now we need to line these two up exactly, or as close to as possible. So let's just solo these two. One of them will have bad UVs, yep, and that's this one. One of them will have good UVs. So let's just... It's as close as we can get it, I think. So let's delete the other one. Got this guy now. And save again. Modify freeze transformations. And then let's export him for ZBrush. Jewelry, hoops, hoop D, low poly. Yeah, that's fine. Then let's go into ZBrush. Duplicate you. In fact, let's go to the highest subdivision level first. Cool. Duplicate. Import. Import low poly. Let's try projecting it and see how well the job it does. I'm not expecting to do great, to be honest, though. Because there is some asymmetry between the two sides. You know, I think it did quite well. Yeah, it worked. I don't see any projection issues anywhere. Sick. Alright, so we got that done. Let's delete you. Rename you to get rid of that. Save. Let's export the high res as high poly. Maybe the high poly is a bit higher poly than last time. Cool. Now let's go to the lowest subdivision level, which is quite high poly, so I didn't even notice it go to low subdivert distance, which is a bad sign. Export it back over. Let me just quickly check. Oh, fuck you. Export you again. Low poly. Oh, and the high poly is really high poly. Really high usage. So let's get rid of the high poly. Higher exports. If we need it later, I'll just decimate it. So let's get rid of the high poly. Save a bit of hard drive space. Cool. So, while I'm at this, I need to go into texturing, jewelry, hoops, and then duplicate one of these. Copy, paste. Rename this. to hoop D, go into here, delete U, and then I can just replace that. So let's go into Z plugin, go into multi-map exporter, export maps, then let's go into file names. Where is it? Cool. Choice a map. That's all good. Cool. We're just going to put that in there as that name. I'll be copy pasting the name from the other mesh. Seven seconds. Right, so now let's refresh you. I'm just going out, going back in. Oh, did I just save over something? Oh, I put it in the modeling thing, didn't I? Okay, let's export. No. Go into Z plugin. Create all maps. Yeah, there it is. It's in the modeling thing, so I need to go in and delete that. Texturing, jewelry, hoops, hoop D. Save that in there. Cool. So now we can go into hoop D. Grab the name from this guy, rename, paste it to U, and then replace the C with D. Cool. And then delete this guy. And while we're at it, let's just go fix. Delete you. Cool. While I'm here, I'm going to go and delete the MTL files. I know I can turn off texture to get rid of those, but I always might have had issues in the past. Cool. Let's save this scene. Jewelry, hoops, hoop D. Save over you. Perfect. We can close this now, I think. Maya. So, let's go into my classic. Delete you, import it back in. UV. Cool, perfect. Turn off solo. Now let's just duplicate that. Modify center pivot. And let's just put you roughly in line. Oh, that's what's confusing me. View way over there. Oh, it's not been mirrored yet. Okay, fair enough. It doesn't need to be perfect because it doesn't line up with the reference anyway. But it needs to be, you know, relatively close. I've also just realised I haven't actually put a hole in this mesh. Okay, so let's get rid of you. I'm gonna have to figure out how that goes exactly, but modify center pivot. Okay, so let's go into Hypershade. let's grab one of these guys. Okay. Let's grab you. Edit, duplicate without shading network. Let's rename that to hoop D. File, Windows, General. It's just as a. Just get rid of all these. Cool. So I can grab these guys and assign hoop D. Okay, apparently I need to duplicate this as well. Edit. Well, I guess while we're at it, I may as well get this guy too. Edit, duplicate without network. Let's get copies of all those. Let's get result R, plug into scalar. Let's get U. Go into the RenderMan settings. Drag RenderMan surface, RenderMan displacement. And where's the blin? The blin is there. That's the viewport surface. Place this with D. Cool. Then, so that's that sorted, mostly. Let's check the settings of this guy. Yeah, that's fine. So now that we've got that set up, we can plug these guys in. Cool, so that's worked now. Let's go into the tools to get the texture manager and create a text file of that displacement, so we can load that. Cool. Go into here, and let's just grab that hoop texture. Cool. So that will work now, in theory. Save the scene. And we need to name these. So let's go. I also need to clean up the scene. I'm going to clean up the scene a little bit before I move on, actually. We got left group and right group. So I'm just going to copy the name from that guy. Get you. That's you. And this is hoop D. Drag you into left group. And then let's get the name from you. Replace that with D. If you're wondering why I've got R and L next to hoops A and D, but not C and B, it's because B is only on the right and that's on the left. Although I guess I could just put the name in there. Why not? Cool. So that's all those done. I can save this. Drag this into the render group, wherever that is. And in fact, no, that's not. What's in here? That's an empty transform. Get rid of you. What are you? That's the old teeth. I'll be using that at some point. What are you? That's what I use to model a curve. ZBrush default group. Is there anything in here? Nope. Nothing new. That's apparently called Polytorus. Delete that. Delete these. That's Polysurface 1. Oh, that is the teep. Teeth. Teep. Cool. So let's save that. Let's check out the render. So let's do a preview render. And now that means jewellery is done, assuming the splicing isn't broken. At least the modelling of jewellery is done. I've still got to do all the high-res sculpting for all of them, but that'll do. It's finally finished. It's over. Now we've got to fix all the modelling on the face. So we're back into organic stuff. It's progress in the positive direction. Right, I'm gonna run and grab some water while this renders. It's over. It's done. I'm so happy. Got any water in here? There we go. I'm back with a glass of water. So, how much stuff do we have to do still? Let's check the high res. So we still need to work on the lips. I need to get the teeth right. I need to get the iris right. In fact, actually, let's get the I'm wondering when it's worth texturing the eyes. Okay, so let's get the FKA twigs eye group. Let's go into both of these. We want the iris, the lens, and the rough. Iris, lens, rough. Modify center pivot in all of them. Just scale that down until we're roughly matching what the ref is doing, which I think that might be close enough. Let's check. View, camera tools. Obviously not going to line up. Size wise, we just need to get it right. I think the eyes might be too big. Like the eye as a whole might be too big. Although size wise that seems to be working, maybe a little bit bigger in fact. And we need to rotate the eye a little bit. Becca, not accounting for eye direction, do you think that's the right size? I just need a second set of eyes on this. That wasn't intended plan.
Yeah.
That looks about right to you? Cool. Because I'll be obviously having to pose the eyes at some point. So now the next thing to do is to move these forward. And then we have to go into the shaders for these guys. So let's put the iris material back on there. Or the, no, did I not say, but let's go into Hypershade. Window, browser, Pixel Gold, grey surface, Hoop B, Hoop C, Hoop D. What are you? I'm not sure what material that is. Okay, so we may have lost the iris material we made at some point, but that's fine. So let's, as a temp, create a new material for these guys. New material, BXDF, pixel surface. Let's rename this Pixar Sclera. And I need to get rid of the underscore, the Pixar, because that's not my naming convention. Cool. Also need to turn on the light because it's getting really fucking dark in here. Cool. So we're gonna need to do some nice stuff here. Let's go into the UV editor. No, UV editor, the Hypershade. What am I doing right now? What am I doing? Hypershade. Cool, so we've got that. Cool, so we need a ramp texture. And we're going to be plugging this into refraction gain and this reflection gain. And then we need to go down to glass. Cool, so that's set up. Let's keep 0.1 roughness. And then let's just go into circular ramp. And we need to set this guy to white, this guy to black. Put that on the other screen for a second. Cool, that'll work. Let's just go for smooth. That's that enabled. Then let's just go on to. So this is our ISO cornea. 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 We need to reverse. Jesus. Cornea. We need to create a reverse node. This is our ISO sclera. And this can go into our diffuse gain. It can go into our. Can I go into our spec graph? No, let's keep our spec graph. It can go into our subsurface though. Although we're not using that yet, but still. In fact, actually, since we're not using that yet, we should keep that disconnected. And let's go into subsurface, just make sure I've not left that on. Right, so save the scene. I'm just going to quickly task manager. It's going to limit Maya's CPU usage so it doesn't crash. Set affinity. Okay, that. Then shade 5. blend and plug that into all the surface shaders. What I might do actually, let's get the Lambert and this blend, graph both of them. Where's the Lambert? Okay, let's go into window. Oh, it's actually created loads of Lamberts, hasn't it? Okay, so let's just ignore that. Save the scene. Alt save, just so we got a backup. And let's turn on. Let's render it properly. Let's go into the render cam. Preview render. I haven't actually set up the material yet. There's no reflections or anything. But we've got an iris. Kind of creepy looking because there's no colour, but right, do this thing for a second. Come on. Yeah, so we need to harden that line a bit. Also put it back just a tiny amount. It's too soft. So let's go to scleromat. Advanced. So let's fix the IOR. The IOR should be 1.334 or something like that. Enable manifold walk so we can get nice caustics. We need to go up to physical fraction index 1.334. Cool. This one can be a little bit rougher. Although I'll need to limit that. So let's isosclera. Oh, I guess we're going to want what's in advance for this guy. Edge color. Cool. And we needed to sharpen that up a little bit, didn't we? So back into you. I think the iris might be too big. Oh, yeah, it is the iris. Yeah. Oh no, pupil. Sorry, pupil might be too big. But we do need to kind of aim it at the camera for it to actually work. I'll probably be using texturing XYZ maps. I get paid on Wednesday, so when I get paid, I'm going to buy a bunch of resources that I might need. Because I need to get a skin like map. Well, a skin displacement map of a woman in her 20s, which I think is €40. So, no, 40. Is it in dollars or euros? I think it's in dollars, right? Texturing XYZ. So I need to get 40 of whatever that is. Maybe it is in pounds. Hopefully it's not in pounds. Although with everything going on at the moment, dollars and pounds are pretty similar. But yeah, still feels too sharp to me. Although maybe just because we don't have any textures. Yeah, I'm glad that we're finally starting to get all this. Oh, I need to turn on subdivision for those guys. Let's just turn off that. Cool, so we've got that. Let's just go into RenderMan and enable subdivision. So enable subdivision, let's just check out on these guys too. Cool. Don't need subdivision on those, right? So I'm just going to start one render and then let's take some kind of note of what we want to do. I'm wondering if I want to work on the teeth right now, if I want to, because I still need to do the other teeth models as well. So the teeth do change the likeness a little bit. They're the wrong size, they're in the wrong place and all that jazz, so bit of an issue. That's a bit better. I'll be doing textures, like roughness textures for all the jewellery. Most of them I'll do procedurally, but I think the big rings, like the big hoops, because they're so large and they attract so much attention, I'm going to paint maps for those. Because I want this to be quite realistic. I don't want, you know, I mean, I want there to be like the areas with dirt build up and substance painter. Obviously I wasn't using a proper pipeline, but it just wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, so. I also need to model the meniscus. Okay, so things that we need to do. So we need to do teeth. We need to, oh, I've got the actual teeth back there. Need to blend the lips into each other. I'm not sure when I'll do that, to be honest. I'm still not entirely sure when I want to add asymmetry, because at this point, like the model, it has general likeness. Like it does look like if we have hair and textures on this, it would start to get somewhere. But you know, I need to pose the eyes, I guess. But yeah, we need to start getting the asymmetry in there to really nail the likeness. Because at the moment, it looks like someone who looks like FKA twigs. It doesn't look like FKA twigs. I'll just say twigs. So we need to get all the asymmetry in there for that to really match. Although it does feel surprisingly natural, all things considered. The teeth are way too big, but I've already mentioned that. She was like a rabbit because of the size of these two teeth that I've modelled. So I'll correct those. Once I've posed the eyes and all that stuff, I'll do the meniscus. Meniscus, if you don't know, is really important to the eyes. It's the water layer. It's a really great way. So we've got this really hard line, right? And subsurface will help on that a bit if these two blend together. But something else that helps is having that meniscus, which is the water, like the tear line along this. It really helps blending it because you get a little speck highlight that hides this seam. And it's what, you know, real eyes, because the eye is wet and the skin is dry, you get this little build up. It's quite a nice looking thing. But yeah, I'm also wondering when I want to pose the body, as in like the neck is going like kind of straight down from her, but actually in the ref it's traveling down, like, you know, composition wise. So I need to have this kind of move that way, as if a head is rotated to the side, but I'm not rotating the head, because all the jewellery would have to move with it, and to be frank, I can't be bothered. Yeah, nothing really jumps out as me as wrong. I need to check my camera lineup. But I'm glad we can finally move back in to doing all that stuff. Yeah, does anyone have any, well, that was not English. Does anyone have any questions at all? I'll grab another drink. check the size of the iris. Not iris, I keep saying iris. Check the size of that pupil. Wait for that to do its thing. And perspective. I think the pupil is actually the right size. Yeah, I think the pupil's about the right size. It's just that she's not looking at the camera. Right, okay, so let's check the lineup on this stuff. So this isn't lining up particularly well. Again, this is where asymmetry comes in. So, do we do asymmetry now? It is remarkably close, surprisingly close. The earlobe is still off. I need to stretch those. Looking really good. Thanks, man. Glad you like it. Yeah, this ear is taller. I always forget how the this tool works. Right. I need to adjust the earring position, but I'm sick of jewelry. I'm really glad to put that behind me right now. This needs to be straightened up. That'll do. Although I think it needs to be rotated more that way. So, here's a dilemma. A lot of these bend, but I think they're also like really bent out of shape, some of them. For one, this is too high. It needs to go way more that way, way more that way, and as a result, way more that way. This is going to be intersecting, isn't it? Surprisingly not. Oh, it is back here. But yeah, like, I'm wondering how to handle the bending, because they're not actually straight. Like, the circles are completely bent out of shape. Like, if I go to, I think it was this one, and hide the polygons for a second. Like, you can see the bend on these. It's quite obvious. It's like an S shape to all of this. This one I think is the most clear. Like, that's really bent out of shape. So I'm wondering, like, how much of this height change here is actually just it being stretched, like if it's more oval shaped. Because mine, if I show the polygons again, it's not the same. Like, it's really not the same. So I need to pull this down. That fits. Cool, so that's closer. But yeah, also let's, the poly count of this model is 356,000 polygons, and almost all of that is the fucking earrings. In fact, how much of it is the earrings? Let's just grab these guys. 218,000 polygons. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't do this poly count wise for production. The actual head itself is 15,000. That's hilarious. Yeah, I think for the actual like render mesh, I'm going to go one subdivision higher, just so that the X-gen grooms and stuff aren't going to be as affected. That's just a simple case of I'm going to keep the low res, but in ZBrush I'm going to export at subdiv level 1, just so that it'd be like 60,000 polygons rather than 15. But the shape will be 4 times more accurate. So that will be super, super helpful. I'm putting off actually doing some of this work, aren't I? Let's hide these. So these are the teeth that supposedly, according to the reference, match closer. Still not quite right though, so let's grab that, move that there. But then do we see... Lips are wrong. Oh, the lips are actually too low, aren't they? Also, when did that move? So I lined these up perfectly at one point. Is that correct? It looks more correct. I need to learn as well how do people do sticky lips. Obviously not at a rigging level, but so that's more correct now. In theory. Let's grab you. Earlobes. Don't want to match them. Oh, that nostril's too big. Chin matches. We're missing a bit of volume on the side of the skull, but I think I'm going to leave that well alone. Which eye matches closest? I feel like this section on both eyes is wrong. That's more like that, right? Probably gonna end up undoing most of this, let's be honest.
Arnold, or Silverline will need to get a better mobile website.
What do you mean mobile website?
Whenever you open it, it doesn't actually open, like, it's not formatted, so whenever you click on, like, the raw links, it comes up, like, random. It looks like a really old, like, Maya thing, and then you're like, what the fuck's going on? And you click on it, and you're like, this is definitely wrong, like, this should not be like this.
She looks really drowsy. This is the difficult bit now. We're now at the stage of the nuances, and that's where things start to look wrong. Let's turn on X-ray. I think that's okay. This is too high. This is too low. This is slightly too low. This needs to go out more. That's much like me. I'm going to figure out the shape of the lips as well, because this isn't right. Yeah, I'll need to re-unfold the UVs with these changes. Nothing major, literally just go in. In fact, I can probably do it now to an extent. Well, let's leave it alone. Just going to the high res ref, or the low res ref, where we can see everything. Yeah, so the mouth, oh no, the mouth is closer now. Alright, cool. Yeah, so that's not lining up from the side view anymore, so let's just give that a quick bump. Make it feel less drowsy. Let's add a little bit more volume on these sections. Cool. Back to the high res ref. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of straightening up to do here. Not much though. Something like that. We need to fix some bumpiness as well. So that sort of stuff, although it would have been insanely subtle, would have hopefully made a difference. So let's go into the render cam. Save again. Let's make the eyes visible, the corneas visible even. Then render man, preview render. And that little change will make it feel a bit more human. She won't be perfectly symmetrical anymore. She'll be asymmetrical. Oh, the teeth have a material on them. I need to fix that. See how that feels a little bit more human now? Why do the teeth feel like they're in the wrong place now, though? Oh, it's because the lips aren't welded yet. That'll be why. But yeah, like the eyes feel a bit more human now. At least to me. This is the importance of symmetry. Like that's an insanely subtle change that most people, to be honest, won't care or notice about. Oh, perfect. Contract.
Where'd you get it?
Finally contract. Yeah, like most people won't notice or care about that like asymmetry there, but it will make a difference. It'll make quite a large difference. I'm going to assign the grey surface material to the teeth before that drives me absolutely mad, and then I'm going to rotate the eyes to match the reference. Which might be something that's trickier than we expect to get right, to be honest. And then we need to get back into ZBrush and start doing some asymmetry stuff with the sculpting as well. It's gonna get so tiresome. So, ref high res. I need to turn off selection highlighting. Look there, cool. And then do the same on this side. Cool. Let's see how much of a difference that makes. Yeah, don't worry about the crosses yet. Although thanks for pointing it out regardless. Thank you very much. But I'm not worried about that yet. The crosses on the brows are intersecting. But it's just because I'm pushing and pulling the skin around.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I've not kind of done that as I go, again, you're right to point it out. The reason I'm not doing it as I go is because I'm going to be changing the face a bit, and I just don't want to, you know, change the face, then move the crosses, and then realize the face is wrong, and move the crosses again, and realize oh, I didn't change the teeth colour. I don't want to just keep going back and forth with it, so I'd rather just, you know, get the head right, and then worry about the crosses, get those lined up on the skin. And this is another place where going one div higher will help as well, because we'll get a bit better representation, like in terms of the viewport, lining it up and all that shit. Let's turn back on selection highlighting. Also, ghost mode is so helpful sometimes. Let's add the grey surface matte. Cool. So I think this is going to be the stream in which it goes from being a head to a portrait, because now we're getting the asymmetry in there, we're getting the eyes posed. So let's just move that one up. Sorry, move you one up. So it's you that needs to come up. Come down even. Yeah, so asymmetry and moving the eyes, that's the difference it makes. To me, that's night and day. Oh, and also the teeth. The teeth feel very wrong though. But yeah, to me, like that's completely night and day. Granted, I still have no idea what I'm doing in the grand scheme of things. I'm still not a sculptor by any stretch compared to some of the people in industry. No, like I'm not intentionally going out of my way to be overly humble. It's more just a case of like I've seen like what the genuine like legends in the industry can do, and I just, you know, given that I've worked with them, I can't help but be like, yeah, I know nothing. Maybe one day I'll be able to think, oh, I actually know what I'm doing, but at the moment I don't.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. But yeah, I think that's quite a big difference to me.
It's mildly terrifying.
The
with her
teeth.
eyes. No, it's her eyes.
What about them?
It was just the little black slit in the middle.
A little black slit in the middle.
They're like her upper pupils.
Oh, the pupils, okay.
They just like looks terrible because I was used to seeing her with no eyes put in.
Yeah.
What did you do to the other two? Oh yeah, that helps.
So teeth, mouth up, and then asymmetry on the eyes. Also stretching the eyes in a little bit. I'll use my mouse. So stretching these bits in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Asymmetry to pull this down. Adjusting this ear, and that one. Mouth up, nostril in, and brow slightly out, so we get a little bit of a better highlight there.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the tiniest little change. Teeth feel worse though. I know that I need to weld the lips. That's one of the issues. And when I say weld the lips, I mean like the lips are, like human lips are really sticky. Like if you're not sure what I mean by that, do me a favor, close your lips and slowly open them, and you'll feel them peel apart.
Mine just opened perfectly, and I was like, fuck.
No, really slow. Open them super slow. You'll
like,
feel them peel apart.
I was literally doing it.
Yeah, but you'll feel them peel apart very slightly, unless they're super wet. So if you like, you know, run your mouth under a tap and then do it, you probably won't feel it as much. But lips are quite sticky, and so that means that they actually kind of blend into each other a bit. So you never actually get this sharp triangle here. What you get is, if I go into my reference folder, let's go into this. What you actually get is this. They peel into each other, and that exact same thing is also next to it. It's here too. They stick to each other, so you do get a little bit of a cavity, but most of it is actually stuck together, so it's super smooth. And then as you get further out away from the mouth, the lips are less sticky, so you do get the hole. That's why these corners look darker, even though it's still just two pieces of flesh sticking together. But this bit looks darker because it's not as sticky as this bit. Whereas this, where it's in the middle, it's perfectly blended. That's going to be a nightmare look otherwise. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to achieve that visually. I can always paint it in the render, which, because I'm just doing a still, is fine, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be a nightmare to get right. But doing that is really important to getting the mouth feel. Because at the moment it's a perfectly dark line. Once we add some surface, that will also help, but yeah. But to me, that's quite a big difference. Again, if you guys disagree, feel free to say. But it's always important to hear extra opinions on this. I think I'm happy with the general proportions of this, to be honest. Everything was lining up in the ref, except the earlobes. So earlobes, what am I going to do? I have absolutely no clue. Oh, and the neck. Oh, is now a good time to move the body?
What if you do the tilting thing?
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe leave the body for now, because I can paint it. Although I'm not going to be painting with Symmetry on anyway. Oh, I've only just noticed I've missed loads of messages.
Hi everyone.
Hello Rashid, hope you're okay. Oh wow, it's 356 euros on Steam. It's almost 100 USD cheaper than the official website. What, Malthus Designer? Alright, perfect. I'm going to get Malthus Designer on Steam. I'd like to see a comparison between manual retopo and auto retopo in terms of shading. So technically, in terms of shading, absolutely no difference as long as the topology is clean. It doesn't matter how you got there. Where it does make a difference is how clean your displacement will be. If your topology is following the lines that you've sculpted, it needs less resolution to get higher detail. So strictly speaking, topology doesn't really affect shading unless you've got artifacts. So if you've got any areas where it's really hard to explain without showing. But yeah, it's going to be what's the word I'm looking for right now?
Awkward.
Yeah, it's always going to be awkward. Like with auto retopper, which is why the auto retopper I've gone for on the earrings is higher res than I need, and the reason I've done that is because I'm less likely to get artifacts. Because if you go really high res, the artifacts are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually they're just straight up gone. Like you'll never see them. That's why they're so high poly. If I was manually retopoing that, they'd probably be half the poly count that they actually are, and they'd probably look just as good. But yeah. Alright, it was good to hear and see you. I'll go back to my... Oh, he's left. He left before I answered this question. Maybe we should have read through the whole thing. But yeah, 6 people watching at the moment. Thank you very much, guys. Right, so... Is this line accurate? Starting to get somewhere though. I'm kind of tempted to just do like a really moody lighting right now. This is feeling quite nice. The shadow that we've got. I also need to get braid maker to do the hair. Oh, I could model the braids. It's just so much effort. I also need to figure out what pipeline I'm going to use for braids. Like if I'm actually going to groom them, or if I'm going to model them and put a short groom on top. I think that's the method I'll go with, to be honest. I'm going to have to check the reference. In fact, why don't we check reference right now? Great, the high res isn't close enough. And the low res is too dark. Alright, we'll have to find some nice pictures of her braids. That's not good. That's not good. This is a decent image. It might not be identical braids is the issue. I think for this, because it's so clean, like because you can see a direct fold between the braids, I'm going to go with a mesh. So what I mean by that is people, like, whenever people ask me how do you do a braid, there's a few different ways you can go about it. One of them is a really old method, which is using N-hair. So what you can do is if you make a curve that follows the braid, or literally just one curve that goes along the length of the braid, and I mean like through the middle of the whole structure, not actually following like weaving, just one curve that goes right along the middle of the whole braid. Then you can attach paint effects to that. Paint effects hair has a checkbox called braid, which braids them. If you generate those hairs and then convert those to Maya curves, make sure you never delete the history, then you can convert those Maya curves to X-Shen guides. And what that allows you to do is you can simulate the original curve that goes down the middle, and that generates the braided curves, and that generates the X-Shen guides, and you have something that follows. It's not the cleanest method because it relies on keeping history the whole way through, which isn't overly pipeline friendly. Of course, you can do actual braids in your guides from scratch, but the issue you get with that is you can't simulate it properly unless you've got some really nice setup that allows you to simulate braids holding together. There is a way to do that, but I don't know it. I'm not a tech anim guy. I do have people who can ask though. Maybe I'll drop them a message. The other method, and the generally preferred one in most cases, unless you've got Yeti or Houdini, where you can actually just make a braid like modifier. But the other way you can do it is if you make a mesh that follows the braid, and then just put a very short groom that kind of goes along that mesh. You can just rig the mesh to do exactly what movements you want, because you're never going to need them to like flop around their braids. Like they're not completely loose. But yeah, and then you obviously have to make a separate groom that kind of blends this the skin into the braids, which is quite difficult to get right. I've seen that done wrong many times. But I think the specific ref that we're going with this is too dark, but I don't think the braids are like really full strength. to be honest. Maybe they are, it's really hard to tell. This is definitely the best image I have so far. Also, I do have a temptation to do this as a groom at some point. Obviously on a separate project. Maybe I can use the FKA twigs model, move it around and do this, but I think this is like really quite beautiful. I love this a lot. I feel like she'd make a really good like Esmeralda from Quasimodo, the film with him in it. What's the name of the film? Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah, she'd make a really good Esmeralda. But yeah, still need to figure out how I'm going to do a lot of this, to be honest. Eyebrows are going to be a lot of fun because we've got very nice high-res ref lined up. I can just trace these, so that'd be fine. How's our render going? Yeah, our render's pretty clean now. Right. I think I'm going to do some more mesh cleanup, just make sure these angles are working, and then we can go into ZBrush, I think. This angle here is a bit sharp. Cool. Panels, high res. Yeah, so that is a bit sharp. So let's just get then let's check the other side for anything like that. It seems to line up quite well as a whole. A little bit of lacking volume here. And this is coming too far over, so let's modify center pivot. Modify center pivot, please. Oh, right, both. Oh, that's not what I want. So let's quickly go around and sort all these guys out here. So for first, I'm just going to line them up to the reference, and then I'm going to worry about how it sits on the skin. I need to do some nostril modeling as well, as in like the actual nostril like gap. Cool. That seems accurate for the most part. So now, let's go into that same view and just push that out until it's no longer intersecting. That's not intersecting. You are intersecting. So move you out. Let's also rotate you a little bit that way. So it sits on the skin. That's very hidden. push that forward as well. So ones like this one are going to need to be rotated a bit. Come on, let's get a nice angle on this. There we go. How do you think these would be stuck to the skin? Is it blob of glue on the back? This needs to be moved down a little bit. So I don't think I'll go as far as modelling the blob of glue, but eyelids all line up. There's no sharp line anymore. Panels are in the can. Let's render that. I look forward to starting to groom on this. It's going to be a lot of fun. How did that? There we go. So we got a gap here now. Oh. I need to look at an MRI or a CAT scan of the nostrils to see how that kind of the actual tunnel in here. Like, I know it inflates in more because the gap between the two nostrils is actually really thin. That's why it's so easy to wear through. Which is such a disgusting thing to think about, is people can wear through that thing, but I need to make it a lot thinner, that's for sure. Maybe I can do that with topological symmetry. So what I need to do is, oh, that's quite bad. Right, so these teeth aren't straight enough, that's one of the issues. And that. Okay, so how are we going to do this? I need to go on the high res, that's for sure. So we need to weld this shut, basically. How do I do this, though? Is that as simple as it is? I don't think so. No, because now we got this. I need to do that in Sculpt, I think. Well, that helps the teeth though. Feel a bit more correct. How am I going to achieve that? That's the bottom of the lip. Actually too short. Alright, earlobes. Let's just do it. So how low did it need to go? Stuff like that feels about right. Yeah, that gives it plenty of room. And we got to do the same for the other side. This side's going to be a bit more extreme if I remember correctly. A bit was an understatement. That can't be right. Unless her earlobe is just that much lower on this side. I guess it could be. So what we're going to need to do is thin the ear out as well. Do the same on the other side. I don't have any good ref for this, annoyingly. Let's go in with the sculpting brush, relax topology. Just relax that out a little bit. This area needs it. We're going to need to re-unfold the topology in this area too. There we go, much better. Anywhere else topology is bad? Cool. That's that done. So let's go into the UVs and just unfold it again. Let's turn off layout. Let's hope the eyes don't break. Eyes. Okay, Okay, so let's just select this area and fold that. That's the area that changed the most. UVs don't change much. So it's not, maybe it's not worth breaking that much for it. Yeah, I'll keep it as it is. Alright, cool. Ears will need a nice new unfold though. There we go. And I guess the back of the ears too. Nothing else will need it, I think. Inside of the nostrils is screwed. Is that the inside of the nostrils? Yeah, it is. We're going to need to unfold those properly. While we're at it, I may as well get. Let me see if I can find a good MRI of the nose. Nose MRI. Is it nasal cavity is the correct word? Nasal cavity. I'm not going to show the Google on screen because I'm sure I'm going to get something pop up that's not very nice to look at. Oh, like that image, for example. Disgusting. Once I find a good image, I'll put it on the screen. Oh god, these images are horrible. Let's search nostril cavity. So once it gets past the bridge, it kind of drops in. Cool. So let's turn on topological symmetry. Topology symmetry. So that means if I select you, cool. So let's go into here and grab basically all these guys. Do something like that. And just push this in. Maybe let's go one level lower. That helps a lot though. We're going to need to do a similar thing here. Push that in quite a lot. Feels a ton better. That doesn't look good though. Let's just get you. UV shell. Isolate selection. Let's go in with the relaxed topology brush. Edge flow on these guys. That's a bit better. Oh, they need to massively extend forward. How much by though? In fact, do they need to extend forward? I think they do. That's more interesting. There we go. Looks like we've got the illusion of detail inside the nose now. We just need to close at the top a little bit. not overly realistic, but cool. So that's that done. We'll need to unfold those again. So let's just go into UV editing mode. I'm intentionally not adding any loops. I know that I could, but I don't want to. Just because I want ZBrush to transfer the UVs perfectly. And it won't do that unless I... well, I'm going to need to edge flow that boy. Because let's just cut tops off. And let's cut the... what would be the best edge? I think it would be this one, right? The most obscured. Cut that. And fold that. And I know that this dense section, I need to turn off this. I know this dense section is going that way. What's at the bottom though? Yeah, I thought so. And I just gotta get that guy, move him out of the way. Move him out of the way. There we go. Better UVs. So something I'm doing, I'm intentionally leaving this gap here. So if I ever decide that I want to add gums into the model, obviously that would be quite a massive topology change, but I'm leaving space for the UVs. If I want to do like loads of teeth stuff, I should probably project this. Although I guess for now I'm just going to put a flat shader on those. But yeah, like I intend on filling this with teeth and gums whenever I add them. Let's go back into the Maya Classic. Cool. Let's see if I'm just going to nip to the toilet and back in a sec, guys. Guess while I'm at it, I might as well start a render. Panels, perspective, panels, render cam, render man, preview. Alright, back in a minute, guys. Perfect. Right, I just need to quickly close that door because it's going to go. Let's get a light up there. 1 second, guys.
Okay.
Bringing the stuff in so I can close the door. There we go. I'm tempted to throw a quick eye texture on these. Like something super basic. Although really we should take that back into ZBrush. Transfer the sculpt onto it and get displacement map out. So currently not using displacement on the skin and we probably should. So let's do that. Cool. So I'm gonna save an alt version. Good number. Export selection. Let's go into head sub D0. Last time I saved over this was the 4th. So I've been exclusively working on jewellery now for 16 days, and that really hurts me on a deep personal level. Back into ZBrush. Let's open file, CG stuff, projects, personal projects, FKA twigs, modeling, ZBrush, scenes, 25. Cool. Then let's just, as a backup, duplicate this head. Got all our subdivision levels. Let's turn that one off. Import. Modeling, Maya exports. There we go. We got our high res. So let's just import that again just to make sure it's not accidentally lost anything. Cool, it hasn't. Let's hide everything. Show this guy again. And then all I'm going to do is project the color back. It's obviously not going to be a perfect match and I don't care. It's just going to project, turn off geometry, project all. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing it for. Cool. So let's just delete this guy. Okay. So we've still got a few things in modeling that we'll need to do. The main one is we need to get the thickness of the ear correct, which might take a little while. But there we go. We got our quote-unquote final mole, which I'm pretty sure I said last time I did this stream. Let's go to modeling, ZBrush, scenes, save over version. And let's go to the multi-map exporter, export options, displacement. This is all set correctly. Do I want to export at this subdivision level or this one? That shows me quite a lot compared to that. I think I'll stay at sub D0 for now. So let's just go into plugin, create our maps. Let's go to texturing. FKA twigs. And then let's create a folder in here called head. And then let's just save it in there. Cool. 1 minute. It's not bad. So let's go into the folder. I have to rename a bunch of that stuff, I think. Texturing, FKA twigs, head. Actually, no. Why is it naming these ones cleanly but not the other ones? Either way, it's quite nice. Let's create a new material. So I'm going to create a new material, and I'm going to call this one PXR skin matte. PXR skin matte. Physical. Do that. 1.335. 1.335. What was the roughness on my standard surface? Will anything still have standard surface? That will. 0.4. Cool. Go to the hypershade. Let's grab one of these guys as well. Place that surface shader. Cool. Then we need a displacement. PXR displace. Delete the shader group because we don't need it. And run displacement. And create a PXR texture. I'm going to call this PXR skin Z disp text. Set this to UDIM. Oh, we need to convert them first. So tools, texture manager, pick directory in this case. Texturing, FKA twigs, head, convert this folder. There we go, that's what it's done. Result R into that. Set U, that's fine. And then we just need to go to the right place. FID. So that should in theory work now. Let's give that a render. Moment of truth. Looks like it's worked. Annoyingly, we're getting a little bit of volume everywhere. That's because we're displacing to compensate for the volume. Ooh, helps with this though. Yeah, I think once we've got the texturing XYZ skin maps on there, that will make a pretty substantial difference. Part of me wants to sculpt the skin. The rest of me doesn't want to be so sadistic. I do have these skin maps from Frank Zhang, because I bought his likeness sculpting course years ago, back when I was in uni and had no idea what I was doing with anything, really. But yeah, I need to do that. I also still need to model the caruncle properly. And I don't mean topology, I mean like actually blending it into the eye. But yeah, that's looking better though. So let's compare that to the first render of today. Yeah, today's a good day for progress, I think. Actually, quite a large difference. I'm pretty happy with that. Hey, Becca.
Yeah.
Quite a large difference today. It's all tiny things. I'm gonna end the stream, guys. Just because we're 5 minutes. Well, I'm not gonna end it right now. I'm gonna give like a couple of minutes if any of you want to ask any questions, or I'm gonna chat through what I plan on doing next because I know that a few people like it when I do that. But if anyone has questions, stop me. I'm happy to go through them. So, first thing I need to do is revisit the sculpt, get the thickness of the ears right, and get the volume correct, because we are gaining quite a substantial bit of volume and displacement, and we did match the model to the directly to the volume of the reference. So what I can do to kind of get that is if I import this model back into ZBrush as a separate object, smooth it, and I can project that smooth version for the top of the ears, and that will just make the high poly stay the same as just smoothing the low poly. Because that's the difference, is this is the low poly smoothed, and this is the low poly with displacement. So it's going to make quite a big difference for that. So I need to do that. I need to check the thickness of the eyelids, because I'm pretty convinced that's not right anymore. But yeah, I like the lips a lot more now. They've got the sharpness in them. Eyes I'm pretty happy with. I need to get the displacement on them, which I'm kind of tempted just to do right now because I've already got the displacement set up. But yeah, thickness of the ears is the main thing because that's going to completely change our subsurface quite a lot, and I don't want a night and day difference. I want it just to be set up and working. I also need to sculpt the insertions of the earrings on the ears, which might take some time. But it's starting to feel, doesn't feel realistic, but it's starting to feel nice. Obviously once we've got the skin details on there, that will start to really help. There's a bit too much sharpness at the moment, like this is too straight and sharp. This isn't really folding, it's kind of creasing. It's like I need it to fold under itself. And that's a Maya model change, that's not a sculpting change. Sculpting that would be overly complex. Whereas modeling it is easy, just grab an edge loop and pull it up without soft select. So I need to do that. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. I still need to move the body, don't I? How far off is the body? I'm gonna leave this rendering in the background. Ref cam. View. Camera tools. Yeah, so I need to rotate the body quite a lot. So that's the difference at the moment. But once I fix that, it will feel a lot more natural, I think. Right. Yeah, once we got some specular variation on the skin, that'll help quite a lot as well. It's just feeling too bumpy right now. I need to work on. I really need to refine the sculpt quite a lot, because the thing is, like, although the skin is bumpy, and adding subsurface is going to completely hide this stuff, but it feels the bumps aren't motivated by the anatomy. Like, this side feels pretty nice. It's quite nice and smooth. This side has this like weird crease and this shadow here. I don't know how well it comes across in the stream. It's quite subtle on the grand scheme of things, but it's still there. Like, I still need to fix it. Yeah. So I'm going to end the stream, guys. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I think it's come out quite well. We've gone from finishing this to changing all this stuff as well. If I grab the last one, the first render day. So this is the end of the last stream. Yeah, so this is the difference between in this stream. So it's quite a nice change, really. Feels more human, and not just through the addition of the eyes, like through the addition of displacement, correct teeth, asymmetry, the new earrings, which aren't as horrible. We just need to fix the pointiness of the ears, which is going from that displacement, which is adding too much volume on top. We also, now that we've got displacement, need to start fixing these guys, which is where subdivision level 1 comes in. Because that means that the volume difference actually won't be there, really, because the volume's set. So yeah, I need to do that. But really not far off, I think. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to head now, because I keep stalling. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, I think. If I do work on this off stream, I'll do subtle stuff. I'll be like smoothing little shapes here. I'm not going to do anything big. And if I decide I want to do anything big, then I'll just do an extra stream. But yeah, I've just got a few things to fix. Especially I just noticed this. This is horrible. But yeah, should be getting there pretty soon though. Anyway, bye guys. Hope you enjoyed it.